Welcome back to the grind for Act 7.3 Guide, quest number 2 with the Power Reserve lane. It's also the Paradox Special lane, so anytime you or the opponent throws a special attack, you're going to gain a Paradox charge. On this path, whenever you knock the opponent down, you're going to decrease your Paradox charge count. And until you have 3 Paradox charges, you're going to have 100% reduced ability accuracy, or defensive ability accuracy, so you won't be able to parry. So you need to make the opponent throw special attacks, and your special attacks as well will increase your Paradox charge count, and once you're above 3, or at 3, sorry, you'll be able to parry and do everything as normal. So I brought Mojo in for this one, and Mojo I'm having a lot of fun with. I actually just recently took him today actually to rank 3, and with Mystic Dispersion and Power Reserve, we're throwing off tons of special attacks, and Mojo is also great for Deja Vu nodes, which we have on this path as well. This one is not Deja Vu unblockable, which is pretty annoying, but Mojo would be great for that one as well. This one is Deja Vu Prowess, so if you use the same basic attack twice in a row, they're going to get a Prowess buff. And if you have your anti-field active, the buff duration is going to be so short, it's going to disappear very quickly, and it's going to give you power, it's going to give you health, and it's going to degen the opponent. So we're throwing off a special 3 here because there's just so many buffs in this fight against King Groot that we got all the way pushed up to a special 3. And because Mojo doesn't have power control, the opponents are going to be throwing off a lot of specials with Power Reserve, and so you're going to have to be knocking the opponent down as well to control your Paradox charges. But it feels somewhat of a chaotic fight, but it's also a very fun fight because you're throwing off so many special attacks and getting so much degen damage from all the buffs that are being that are ending and turning into degen. Like look, we had 11 degens going at that point there, and just from these 5 we're ticking for over 2,000 per tick with the degen damage here, and we're already up to another special 2. We're making some mistakes here and there, but because we're healing so much from all the buffs expiring, we're staying topped up quite nicely with Mojo. So again, this is kind of a chaotic fight, but it was a lot of fun. So I'm really enjoying using Mojo, and I'm excited to test him out now that he is also at rank 3. So not a very difficult fight, but a little bit chaotic at times. A lot of fun. Like I said, now we're going in with Professor X, the ultimate cheese for these paths because of his natural power reserve. When you factor in the power reserve from the node, you don't lose any power when you throw your special attacks off when you are channeling, or sorry, when you are in mind control state with 100 channeling charges. The trick is to build up to 100 channeling charges, and at that point, ideally get to 3 bars of power, because then you can just spam special 3s back to back without any consequence. But I ended up going with special 2s because it was a little more interesting and a little more fun. And so we are just working on building up power and channeling charges at this point and baiting out his special attacks to get us over 3 Paradox charges. At that point, whenever we knock him down with our own special attacks, we're going to gain a charge with our special attack and then lose a charge when we knock him down. So as long as you don't have 8 Paradox charges, you're not going to take burst damage. If you're at 7, you're going to use your special attack. It's going to push you up to 8, but then knocking him down at the end of the special attack is going to bring you back down to 7. So you want to stay around 5 to 7 for this path, and then if you're spamming your special attacks, you'll never have to worry about it. So now we go into our mind control state, throw off our special 2, and at this point we're just charging heavy, throwing off a special 2, charging heavy, throwing off a special 2. And the downside to using your special 2 is that it takes time from your mind control, whereas your special 3, you're really only out of it for a fraction of a second. So you can just spam special 3 back to back and it doesn't really matter. But you can see there, we got through that fight without really any difficulty at all. Now this next fight against Nova is a little annoying because of the auto block mechanic, and I was going in with Hulkbuster just to test a stun lock champion, and Hulkbuster would work fine in this. However, against Nova, he doesn't work great. So again, with Hulkbuster, you activate a special attack, it gains you a charge, and then when you knock the opponent down, you lose a charge. So you want to stay, again, around 5 to 7, and that should be just fine. And the more Paradox charges you have, the more special attack damage you're going to have as well. So I did a little bit of a mess up there, and we're trying to bait out some special attacks from Nova so that we can build up Paradox charges so we can parry. And once we get there, we're going to start to stun lock him. The problem with using Hulkbuster for this fight, or a stun lock champion in general for this fight, is that Nova can auto block. And so we're going to run into an issue here. So right now we're just going in, we're doing some attacks and then throwing our special 1 to stun him. And if you can throw off your special before the stun ends, you'd be fine, but it does take a little bit of time to get the power back so you can throw it off. So we're going to see that he's going, now that he's at 3 bars of power, we don't want to interrupt at all, but he auto-blocked my combo before I could throw the special 3, and then he killed me with his special 3. So Hulkbuster would be great for other fights on this path, but not against Nova, or I think Nick Fury's the last fight, and so he goes stun immune, so you wouldn't be able to do it for there. So we go in with Dr. Doom, and Dr. Doom is also an amazing champion for power reserve. You can put the opponents in a special 3 loop without any difficulty. Once you get there, then the match is over. So right now we're just working on baiting out specials to build up our paradox charges so that we can parry and play freely, and we're working our way up to 3 bars of power at the same time. So now we've got 2, and we want to avoid knocking him down at this point, because then that would continue to keep us under 3 paradox charges and complicate the fight a little further. And you can do this lock with Suicide's on as well, because you're relying on special 3s, and so it doesn't really matter if you have recoil going. So now we made a little mistake there, but we're at 5 paradox charges, and we're going to mess up again here, but it really doesn't matter, because then we're going to throw off our special 3, and at this point the match is over. Coming out, we're going to do a light, actually I think I did a medium there, and then we do light, medium, 3 lights and 2 mediums at the end, and then we're at 3 bars of power again. Then once again, medium, light, medium, and then we're at 3 bars of power again. And we can just keep that loop going, and the opponent can do nothing about it. So now we're going into the next fight against Kingpin with Dr. Doom, and we already have paradox charges built up, so we don't have to worry about the ramp up. All we have to do is get ourselves up to 3 bars of power, and then we'll put him into the special 3 loop. And we don't have to worry against Kingpin, because he cannot shrug off the passive stuns. So once we get there, we're good to go. However, because we've started with paradox charges and Kingpin is going to be throwing special attacks for the first part of the fight, you want to control your paradox charges by knocking the opponent down before you get too high, because remember, you don't want to get to 8 paradox charges when you go into your loop. So we're countering with a heavy attack to knock him down and save our power so we can get to 3 bars sooner. You want to make sure your spacing is correct, because as I just got hit in the face right there, you want to avoid that. But now we have 3 bars of power, and when we come out of our special 3, we're going to do a light, we're going to dash back in for a medium, and then end with 4 lights to steal power, and that's going to bring us well over 3 bars of power yet again, and that's how we're going to lock him down this time. And that's just to show an alternative option for this, which is really going to matter on a different power reserve path, which will be in another video I'm putting out. Now, Vision Arcus, I had brought in Sasquatch because he was a newer champion that I wanted to test out against Vision Arcus, and it didn't go as planned, so I died after taking off about 40%. So we're going to finish off the fight with Dr. Doom. Now with Dr. Doom, if you're awakened, then you'll have a much easier time, because you can steal the power gain from Vision Arcus, and throwing off a special 1 right after coming out of the special 3 will help to guarantee you can gain enough power, because as you can see here, we almost don't get to a special 3, but thankfully we kill him before we end up in that tight position. So maybe using special 1s with Dr. Doom against Vision Arcus right after coming out of special 3 would be a good option. So now we're bringing in Mojo for Nick Fury, because he goes stun immune in his second life, so we can't use the stun loop with Dr. Doom. And again, it's going to end up feeling like a somewhat chaotic fight, but it's a lot of fun with Mojo. We are in our anti-field now, so we're throwing off a special 2. We get some pretty nice damage because of the paradox charges increasing our special attack bonus, and it's really easy to keep Nick Fury at 2 bars of power because he has power reserve as well. So he always drops down to having 1 bar of power, but if you go in with a combo and have a special attack to throw off of your own, you can easily push him over 2 bars of power, which is very easy to evade even if he's unblockable. So that's a nice bonus in this fight, where usually Nick Fury is a pain in the butt because of his special 1 and being unblockable. Now, I ended up accidentally throwing off a special attack when I had 8 paradox charges, so I took some burst damage, and now we're with that unfortunate 100% defensive ability accuracy reduction until we bait out a few more special attacks. But that's okay. And watch our health. We were down at about 25% health, and now we're going to gain health so fast because of all the buffs that are expiring. We're just going to get tons and tons of regen, and our health is going to climb quite nicely. It just kind of showcases Mojo's sustainability. So now we pushed him into his second life, and he's healing up, but now he's starting to degen again. So we're not in a rush to do a lot of damage right now. However, because we have so much power gain, we have so much access to special attacks that it doesn't really matter. Throwing off a special 3 to use up that power, and very quickly we're going to be back up to a special 2. And just look at all the degeneration damage going on. Some of that is from his second life degen that's going on, but a lot of it is also from our degens that we are applying with our special attacks and with buffs expiring. And again, very close to 2 bars of power yet again, and we're going to throw off another special attack here pretty soon after we bait out this special 2, go in for a combo and the special 2. Unfortunately, I didn't want to get pushed to 2 bars of power, so I messed that up and I threw it into his block, but we had 2 bars of power yet again very quickly, and we were able to finish off the fight. So this path is a lot of fun. There's a few different options that you can do. I do hope that this video is helpful, and I hope to see you in the next video.